Happy Sat Stacking Saturday to the entire crypto fam. Let's get it. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis while Bitcoin flatlines at $30,000. Also, we'll be discussing the SEC hints at a potential appeal to the XRP ruling from the recent Ripple Labs lawsuit. We'll also be discussing FTX sues Sam Bankman-Fried as well as the former execs to recover over $1 billion. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin will reach 175,000 per coin if the price breaks above this rising channel, according to Top Trader. We'll also be discussing, as Bitcoin continues to rise, El Salvador's sovereign bonds soar 60% thus far in 2023. That's right, belief in El Salvador's national debt has resurrected throughout the past 12 months as it demonstrates its ability to make its payments. I'm also going to be sharing with you Max Keiser's $1 million Bitcoin price prediction, and most importantly, how and when. And also, he says everything is going to zero against Bitcoin. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. And if you're new to the YouTube channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. Welcome y'all just tuning in. This is pod episode number 1349. I'm your host, JV, and today is July 22nd, 2023. Happy Sat Stacking Saturday. The market is currently correction, as you can see here, right here in your screen. Bitcoin correcting about 0.5%, but maintaining above 29,800. We have Ether also in the red, back under $1,900, with XRP, one of the biggest losers, down 5%, trading back under 75 cents. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past, or actually this is on CoinMarketCap. The current market cap sits at 1.2 trillion with 28 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, with Bitcoin dominance at 48.4% and the Ether dominance at 18.9%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, XDC up a whopping 35%, trading at 5.4 cents, followed by Casper up 14%, trading above 4.1 cents, followed by Tron up almost 5%, trading at roughly 8.5 cents. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past week, XDC leading this pack up 36%, Casper up 14%, and COS up 9.1%, followed by Scamcoin FTT up 8.5%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, which you can see here, we can see we're currently rated a 52 neutral. Yesterday was a 50, last week a 56, and last month a 65 in greed. So there you have it. How many of you took advantage of this recent dip with a sub 30,000 Bitcoin price? Holla BTFD in the live chat or in the main comment section right down below. Now let's break down today's Bitcoin technical analysis and check out the charts. I know things have been a bit boring and stagnated, but nonetheless, as you can clearly see in this chart, the past 24 hours didn't provide anything of substance when it comes to the Bitcoin price in particular. The crypto continues to flirt with 30 G's, baby, but neither side can manage to take control. The bulls have failed to recapture the level decisively, while the sellers are also unable to push the price towards another support zone, which we can see clearly in this chart. Now to this, the altcoins have also failed to capitalize on Bitcoin stagnation. This is clearly reflected by the Bitcoin dominance, the metric that tracks its share relative to that of the rest of the market, and also remained flat at 46.6% in the past 24 hours. Tron has been pumping, some of the alts have been pumping, which I outlined with XDC being the biggest. So, which altcoins, if any, are you currently bullish on? Let me know in the comments right down below. Now let's discuss the latest. We all know that XRP recently got a slight victory, Ripple Labs and XRP, over the SEC, as they deemed that the crypto sold on the exchanges in regards to XRP was not sold as an unregistered security, as the SEC and Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC, was alleging. However, unfortunately, they do have the power to appeal that decision, just FYI, and they're hinting towards that. So let's actually break this down. Quite interesting. The United States SEC has suggested it may appeal a recent ruling in it against the case with Ripple Labs, which deemed XRP not a security when sold to the retail investors. The SEC argues that the ruling goes against the fundamental security law principles, such as the Howey test, which determines what falls under the category of an investment contract. Now, we all know that was like back from 1934, that Howey test. As John Deaton, the lawyer, points out here, do we really want a judge to ask herself, does my strict application of the Howey test in this case result in an outcome in 2023 that comports with the policy implications behind a 1934 34 statute. I think he makes a great point here. Now, the SEC's latest comments on Ripple Labs' lawsuit were made in a separate lawsuit against Terraform Labs and its founder Do Kwon over allegedly orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar crypto asset securities fraud. And as per the SEC's July 21st response shared yesterday to a motion to dismiss Terraform Labs, in which the potentially precedent-setting Ripple Labs ruling was referenced by the defendants, the SEC highlighted a host of issues it holds against the court's recent decision on XRP, quoting them here. Contrary to the defendants' assertions, much of the Ripple ruling supports the SEC claims in this case and rejects the arguments defendants have raised here. However, with respect to the programmatic and other sales, the SEC respectfully avers that Ripple conflicts with and adds baseless requirements to Howey and its progeny, they stated. Along with this, respectfully, those portions of Ripple were wrongfully decided, and this court should not follow them. The SEC staff is considering the various available avenues for further review and intends to recommend that the SEC seek such a review. Now, the SEC's statements come just a few days after the agency's chairman, Gary Gensler, expressed his disappointment over the court deeming XRP not to be a security when sold to retail investors. Quoting him here, "We are pleased that the court addressed that a token for institutional investors is a security. Disappointed in the other aspect about retail investors. We are still taking a look at that and considering it," said Gensler in an interview with Yahoo on the 17th. And on the same day, Gensler, we call him No Clarity Gary here on the channel, also appeared at the National Press Club to give a talk on artificial intelligence, we know as AI, and was questioned if the court rulings represented an urgent need to establish clear regulation for the industry. Gensler failed to provide a specific answer, but what more do you expect from No Clarity Gary? And as pointed out here, the SEC arguing that a court didn't follow the Howey is rich on its own website. The SEC has acknowledged the Fed courts require commonality, and then goes on to say that it doesn't require commonality in its analysis or view commonality as the distinct part of the Howey. So very interesting. What are your thoughts on all this? Do you think that the SEC is likely to appeal this decision? And if they do so, do you think they stand a chance to get this ruling overturned? I know with appeals it is very difficult to overturn the original verdict from the original judge, but anything is possible, especially with the SEC as they continue their crypto crackdown of the industry. But let me know your thoughts, and I'll be reading everyone's comments out loud at the end of the show. And make sure to say hello and let me know where you're tuning in from. Quick shout out to Bring Facts, Steve Kingston, Garrett Miller, and Digital Dankness for being active in the live chat. Much love and much respect. Now for the latest regarding Scam Bankman-Fried, as I like to call him, and FTX. Guess what? FTX is actually suing them as well as their board executives, which is also another interesting story here. FTX Trading, the company which operated what was once the largest crypto exchange, sued its founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, and other former execs on Thursday in an attempt to recover more than $1 billion they allegedly diverted. Besides Bankman-Fried, among the defendants named in the suit are co-founder and former FTX chief technology officer, Gary Wang, and former CEO of SBF's Alameda Research hedge fund, Caroline Ellison, and former FTX engineer and director, Nishad Singh. Reuters and Bloomberg both reported the complaint filed in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court District of Delaware accuses them of misappropriating and using the money to finance luxury condominiums, political contributions, and speculative investments and other pet projects. The transfer took place between February of 2020 and November of 2022 when the company sought Chapter 11 protection, and according to FTX, these transfers can be reversed under the U.S. Bankruptcy Code or Delaware law as they were made before the bankruptcy filing on November 11th. The lawsuit alleges that the fraudulent transactions included over $725 million of equity that FTX and West Realm Shires, another entity controlled by SBF, awarded without receiving any value in exchange. Bankman-Fried and Wang also took $546 million from Alameda in May of 2022 to acquire shares in Robinhood Markets, and Ellison used $28.8 million to pay herself bonuses. Not too shabby of a bonus. FTX pointed out the transfers were made when FTX-related entities were insolvent. The defendants knew it. not a good look, right? It's kind of like spitting in the face of all of the victims, in my opinion. Following this extradition from the Bahamas, where FTX was headquartered, SBF was sued for alleged fraud in the United States, amongst other criminal charges, which he pleaded not guilty. Now, Ellison, Wang, and Singh pleaded guilty and agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. And in the latest complaint, FTX also claims Bankman-Fried's defense is being partially funded from a $10 million gift he gave his father. Interesting, right? This is and other lawsuits are part of the efforts by the bankrupt company's new CEO, John Ray, and his team to recoup funds that can repay creditors, including customers of the collapsed cryptocurrency exchange. So what are your thoughts here? And regarding taking stolen funds he stole from investors such as yourself to pay for his lawyer fees, I think this is messed up as well. And isn't it interesting? The only one not taking responsibility for his fraud and crime is Scam Bankman-Fried himself. All the other executives have pleaded guilty or are pleading guilty. So it makes you wonder, things that make you go, And in the end, do you think Bankman-Fried is going to serve any real jail time? Or do you think he'll get away with this with a slap on the wrist due to all his political donations and connections and meetings behind closed door with the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. Now let's break down a $175,000 Bitcoin price prediction from this analyst. Then we'll be discussing the latest regarding El Salvador bonds skyrocketing right now, followed by Max Keiser's $1 million price prediction and the target on when this is most likely to happen. Then we'll dive into our live Q&A. And again, massive shout out to everyone just joining us here in the live chat. So yeah, Bitcoin's 6-year range inside a rising channel drawn the attention at curious optimistic analysts, and previewing the price chart shows the coin has been in a range over years, capturing all of its volatility. Despite occasional dumps and pumps, the structure is yet to be broken. So here's this 175,000 target. According to the trader's assessment, a breakout above the upper resistance level at around 32,000, which we're on the cusp of recapturing, FYI, could potentially trigger a new bull run that may see the world's most valuable crypto, BTC, retest highs of the rising channel at $175,000, a level that upbeat hodlers can mark as a feasible target. You can say that again. Can anyone say Puerto Rico party at JVs? Let's go. Still considering the volatility in crypto, this bullish forecast cannot be dismissed. To illustrate, the last bull run drove Bitcoin prices from sub 10,000 to peaks of 69,000 in less than 2 years. Facts. Therefore, if the bulls can push above 32,000, a price level that the analysts claim is important, it could be a bullish signal that may be the beginning of another leg up in the resumption of the bullish formation set in motion between 2020 and 2021. And with Bitcoin currently trading at around that 30,000 level at spot rates with resistance at 31.8, despite the general optimism across the board, the bulls are yet to breach the July 2023 highs as prices consolidate. That's right, the current high for this year, or roughly in the past 13 months, is around that 32,000 mark, and there isn't much resistance between 32 and new all-time highs, according to this analyst. So having an ETF approval could serve as the tailwinds. Let's discuss it. Specific triggers for the next run are unknown now, but even so, considering the past cycles, the upcoming Bitcoin halving, set to be approximately 9 months out, provides an impetus for a leg up towards 2021 highs to recapture that 69,000 level. And besides, traders are closely monitoring how the spot Bitcoin ETF apps in the United States will continue to progress. The US SEC rejected several spot Bitcoin ETFs in the past. In fact, over the past decade, they've been rejecting them, with the Winklevoss twins from the Gemini Exchange's first ETF app for spot Bitcoin ETF in the United States being rejected over a decade ago. However, the involvement of BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, has been received positively, lifting the prices in the past few weeks. BlackRock, controlling roughly $10 to $12 trillion in assets under management. So the approval of a Bitcoin ETF would ease institutional investors' involvement in the sphere, potentially driving demand and lifting the prices. And most importantly, a Bitcoin ETF legitimizes Bitcoin as an investment asset as if it wasn't already legitimized, But hey, I see what they're saying on a global mass scale for institutions. Bitcoin is the most dominant crypto asset, and complex derivative instruments, including exchange-traded products, which are ETPs, have been approved and listed in various markets, currently in Canada, Europe, and Brazil. So the $1 million question becomes, when do we get a spot Bitcoin ETF finally in the United States? And as Jelle, the trader, points out here alongside this chart, we spent the past 6 years inside of this channel. Once we break 32,000, I expect the new bull market to take us to the highs of the channel again, with the final target at 175,000. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this crypto analyst, and when do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to reach this 175,000 target? Let me know in the comments right down below. And now for our next story of the day, let's discuss El Salvador bonds, shall we? And shout out to all the beautiful people of El Salvador, as well as their commander-in-chief, Nayib Bukele. Here we go. Bond issued by El Salvador, the first country in the world to establish Bitcoin as a legal tender, are up 60% in value this year, rivaling Bitcoin's 80% gains. Here we go. The sudden demand for the country's national debt represents a massive sentiment shift around its financial position. Yields for El Salvador's 10-year debt ran as high as 24% just 12 months ago, in line with distressed economics like Ukraine and Argentina. However, the country successfully repaid the $800 million of short-term debt back in January, alongside interest, proving both media and credit rating agencies wrong, as well as the IMF. Take that. And last year, Morgan Stanley anticipated it was a good time to buy Salvadoran bonds, believing the government could muddle through its interest payments in the short term. And Aaron Stern, chief investment officer of Converium Capital in Montreal, told Reuters that the national bonds prices were divorced from fundamentals in summer of 2022. The market was concerned about the administration's willingness to pay, and now the nation's bonds look attractive next to the debt prices of other emerging market nations. Data from Refinitiv shows that the nation's bonds currently yield between 14% and 18%. Despite their bullish performance this year, some believe it is not the time to cash out. El Salvador is somewhat uniquely positioned as one of the highest yielding performing distressed credits, said BNP Paribas Natalie, a managing director of Latin America's fixed income. And El Salvador's bond performance has mimicked that of Bitcoin throughout the past year, crashing in the summer of 2022 before rallying across the first half of 2023. So there you have it. Obviously, big things happening in El Salvador, especially with their Bitcoin mining, with geothermal energy. Things couldn't be looking any more optimistic. So they're leading the way for the rest of the world, and hopefully many other nations will follow suit, adopting Bitcoin as the legal tender and changing the game as the Bitcoin game theory continues in full effect. Now for the latest from Max Keiser. I recently transcribed one of his interviews he did. Actually, it was an Orange Pill podcast with Stacey Herbert, but I'm going to be sharing a lot of insights, price predictions, as well as when will we see this $1 million price. Let's discuss it. So transcribing Max Orange Pill pod that I did here on Crypto Twitter, he says, Bitcoin is designed to be attacked. When the EU says we need to attack the price of Bitcoin, that is music to Bitcoiners' ears, because all the attacks mean a greater hash rate, greater security, and higher prices. And as we know, the more you attack it, the stronger the network gets, right? So he goes on to share, it is designed to be attacked. The more you attack it, the higher the price goes. So we welcome the EU attacks and the IMF and Christine Lagarde and central banks and Federal Reserve Bank. Please attack me so that my price can go to 100, 200,000 to $1 million per coin. Thank you. Very powerful words. He also points out that everything goes to zero against Bitcoin. And he makes a great point, because the purchasing power of Bitcoin is guaranteed to go up as the purchasing power of the dollar is guaranteed to go down. He also made this prediction a few years back. The Bank of England will scramble to buy Bitcoin before it hits $1 million per coin. Bitcoin expert projects. And this is actually quite interesting. I'm going to quote him here. He says, the bargaining phase will be their central bank digital currency stage. And when that fails, comes to depression as the price tops 500,000 in USD, then acceptance with the Bank of England scrambling to buy Bitcoin before it tops $1 million per coin. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this particular prediction. He also said this back in 2021. I am sure that Bitcoiners can arrange a $1 billion lending facility stopgap for El Salvador, and that the IMF can go F themselves. And lo and behold, that's precisely what we're witnessing right now. He's also quoted saying El Salvador will be debt-free in 2030 with Bitcoin mining. Yeah, let's actually share some more quotes here, and shout out to Volcano Energy and what they got going on. So this project represents self-sufficiency of the country, because we will mine Bitcoin by ourselves in El Salvador. It also gives us geographical importance for the Bitcoin network. The idea that El Salvador is a large mining center allows jobs to be generated in the area, raising the gross domestic product, benefiting the country. Countries around the world, we call this game theory, are beginning to accumulate and mine Bitcoin as the world of fiat money and central bank disintegrates. With the benefit of President President Bukele's new laws, such as making Bitcoin a legal tender, we have the ability to lead the world and arguably become the richest country in the world. Send it. Now, Volcano Energy's mission is to make El Salvador the richest nation on earth. Bitcoin is the new oil, and El Salvador will be the Saudi Arabia of Bitcoin. Now, check it. By 2030, Volcano Energy's market cap will exceed El Salvador's gross domestic product of $29 billion and reach $50 billion as we expand geothermal mining, and the price of Bitcoin skyrockets to $1 million per coin. It is a mathematical certainty. So here's the year. This country will be debt-free by 2030 with Bitcoin and geothermal Bitcoin mining. So there you have it. What are your thoughts surrounding Max Keiser's prediction of the Bitcoin price skyrocketing to $1 million per coin by the year 2030 as El Salvador becomes debt-free, and they continue to say to the IMF? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments right down below. Now let's dive into our live Q&A. Massive shout out to everyone in the live chat. Brogan was good. Kevin Watson, Leroy Essel, LFC Liverpool Film Club, Tony Jeffries in the building, Matthew, Bitcoin Maximus, J-Dub the Laker. We got a lot of the OGs here in the building. Much love, much respect. What's good? Good to see y'all. Rave Elevator, it's been $1 million. Says 1 million incoming. Send it. Let's freaking go. Shout out to Dankness, La Familia, what's happening? Hodl Mike 73. Yes, he is 73 years old and doing his thing here with Bitcoin, leading the way. Awesome. I hear that. Better than worse. Yeah, gotcha. I hope I have lived a life worth living, leaving nothing on the table to be done. And I hope you're all the same way. Much respect to you. Yeah, much respect to everyone out here, regardless of your age. But I think it's awesome to see Bitcoiners because that's what unites us. It doesn't matter if you're my daughter's age, 9 years old, or you're Mike's age and you're 73 years old. We can connect on a level most human beings can't connect. That's why I just love being around our Bitcoin fam. So much love and respect to the entire Bitcoin family. Steve Kingston says, good morning, gentlemen. Digital Dankness, you do more for the family than you know. Thank you, 100%. And shout out to Garrett Miller. Shout out to Steve Kingston. Appreciate the support. Yes, this is pod number 1349, and the greatest compliment you can do is smash the like button. It's free to do so. It helps support the channel and helps support this Bitcoin movement. One love. Work schedule is insane. I can only be here on the days off for the show. All good, Steve Kingston. No need to apologize. Do what you got to do. The good news, you can watch the replay at any time, right? A month of sideways. I'm ready for the move in the market. Either way, ready for both directions, says Steve. That's what's up. Mikey likes it. Welcome. Appreciate you tuning in. Kingston says that Fed rates again this week. 0.25% raise incoming. We'll send it. Do what it do. I appreciate those kinds of words. Hope you are not working too hard. You got to do what you got to do. My retirement job rocks, keeps me out of trouble. Word up, my Sat Saturday. That's right, it's Sat Stacking Saturday every Saturday here at the Crypto News Alerts pod. I am not retired yet, says Dankness. Still 41 and plenty of time for the government to milk me for taxes. But I do appreciate the positive words from you, good sir. It means a ton to me. That's what's up. Baz Dragon, good to see you from the UK. UK in the building. Also, Tony Jeffries from the UK, Liverpool, shout out. Be safe, Coin Father. Word, Coin Father, Steve Kingston, good afternoon, good afternoon. Fairgrounds Fun Days, hi guys, prosperous weekend to you, what's good? Leroy Essel says the SEC will appeal the XRP ruling. More than likely, we all know they want it deemed as an unregistered security on the exchange because then they'd be able to set precedent and deem all these other altcoins as unregistered securities, which would be a continued attack on crypto. However, unfortunately for the SEC and fortunately for the rest of the crypto sphere, it was already deemed an unregistered security by Judge Torres when it was being sold on the exchanges, hence why it's already been relisted on a lot of the major exchanges and reaches, just more recently reached a price action of roughly 84 cents before correcting to where we're currently at, which is the highest price we've seen XRP in a very long time. So we'll see how this plays out, and I'll be keeping you posted. Have a great evening to you as well. Keiser's a joke. He predicted 220,000 for 2021, 2022, and this year. Well, MMFFXX, Max Keiser has been bullish on Bitcoin since it was $1. Keep that in mind. Him and Stacy are the first to promote Bitcoin on national television via the Keiser report. And that was back when it was only $1. So how many predictions did he nail and get right on the way up to a 69,000 all-time high? Probably the most consistent. And guess what? Maybe 220 hasn't happened yet because there's a lot of corruption and unexpected turn of events we have witnessed personally, like last year, FTX going under, Three Arrows Capital and one after the other, Do Kwon's company, Terraform Labs, etc. So a lot of unexpected things could happen. But anyways, we all know it's a given and it's a lock that 220 eventually will come into fruition. Maybe he didn't have the exact time frame, but it's going to happen and he will be right. It's got to happen eventually. Because I remember people said Bitcoin would, back when I got involved with Bitcoin in 2017, it was under 2,000. People said it could never go to 20,000. That same year it went to 20,000, almost like 19,900 and some change. And then people said, yeah, now it's going to crash back down to zero. Get out while you still can. Lo and behold, a few years later, it surged to 69,000, left the bears in the dust. You know what I mean? So what's likely to occur next? If Bitcoin has been consistently averaging 200% gains since the inception roughly 14 years ago, it's probably most likely going to continue to do so, especially considering it's a finite, scarce, limited asset, unlike every other form of money where they can create more and add it to the supply. They can change the code. Oh, let's just add some more zeros and print some more dollars. Even gold, they can just invest into mining more gold and introducing more to the supply, which is what they actually do each and every year. So nothing can be compared to the finite limited supply of which Bitcoin is. And then you add the factors, it being incorruptible. No one can change that. He says it's a mathematical certainty because no one can change the mathematics, which are programmed into it. You know what I mean? It's also a great store of wealth, obviously gold version 2.0, but only so much more superior. It's borderless, so you can travel with it. It's unconfiscatable. It just has all the properties, making it the perfect money. So I have no doubts personally of 220,000, but the $1 million question does become, when? So what are your guys' thoughts? When do you think 220,000 Bitcoin is most likely to occur? Let me know. Leroy says July is happy birthday month, including Nikola Tesla on July 10th, 1856. Good to note, Leroy. Appreciate you tuning in and curious where you're tuning in from. Let me know. I have minor options expiring this week. Let's go Bitcoin. That's what's up, Mikey. Much love, much respect. What's good, Andrew, too? Good to see you. Buy that dip, says Steve. That's what's up. Leroy, WMT Science China, and it's approved by U.S. Communications. Chester Gregory. Hello, JV, TNX for our professional work and knowledge. Much love, fam. You're very welcome. Appreciate you tuning in. What justifies a $1 million Bitcoin at the market cap? It would be at. What justifies $1 million Bitcoin at the market cap? It would be at. So you're asking what would the market cap be? I think right now, let's say, what's the Bitcoin market cap? Probably just under $600 billion. So just for the sake of round numbers, let's just hypothetically say it's $500 billion right now. For Bitcoin to rise from 30,000, how many X's do we need to get to 1 million? If someone could help me with the math and we can determine just based upon that what the market cap would likely need to be to hit that target. But in my head, off the top, I don't know. I don't have a calculator in front of me. The SEC will appeal. It seems they probably will. You know what I mean? But we shall see. Gensler was picked on in high school. No doubt, Garrett Miller. I think you got that one right. Facts. Just got home from vacation with my daughter yesterday. Hit the Black Hills of, is that San Diego, SD? Word up. Enjoy it, fam. Yep, I would give him a wedgie if I saw him. Who wouldn't be giving Gensler a wedgie? Gensler was probably the hall monitor, writing up referrals for kids going to the bathroom or something like that. I could see that happening too. No clarity, Gary. Not so merry. Very fairy, scary, making Bitcoin berry. I like that, Garrett Miller. You got to throw that into some bars on a rap track. Matthew, regarding altcoins and in fact all forms of crypto, it's difficult for investors to establish easily if the coin or currency is robust and legitimate. For example, is it decentralized? Now, let's ask that question. How many cryptocurrencies are 100% decentralized besides Bitcoin? I don't know of any. If you guys do, please let me know. Abolish the SEC, Federal Reserve, IRS, and U.S. foreign wars by voting libertarian. Word up, Leroy. Garrett Miller says, likes up. I appreciate that. Helps out the show tremendously. So thanks again, fam. Tuning in from Clearwater, Florida, my old stomping grounds before relocating here with my fam to Puerto Rico. I just moved from Clearwater. So interesting. Good stuff. Love Clearwater. Beautiful place to be. At least the beaches are very nice for Florida over there. It's 108 degrees outside. Where are you located, Leroy? It's also hot here in Puerto Rico, of course. It's hot year round. My school was called Delaware even. To be honest, in the UK, it was due to miners immigrating to various parts of the world in the 19th century. Love your show, JV. Greetings. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate the support as always. Is 72 degrees inside. Bring facts points out. Smart man. Stay inside. Scam, bankman fraud will never do hard time. He had Gary behind him to be a black swan to push the CBDCs. I agree. I think he was planted there as a bad actor and protected by the corruption of the regulation here in the United States. 50,000 for Bitcoin by the end of 2023 sounds good. I think that's a great realistic target here personally. 20,000 away, send it, and let's freaking go. Happy days ahead. Cheaper stats for us to buy. 100%. The lower the price goes, the better the opportunity to keep stacking. Home invasion increases for crypto hodlers. Really? Well, maybe get some security or live in a secure community with some security guards. I would recommend that. Bullish divergence is in effect, in my opinion. Send it. Let's go. Man, I thought I was older than y'all, but you're about the same age, fellas. I'm 38 going on 25. Word up, J-Dub. I'm 40 going on 18. Just saying. Don't forget to slap the happy with that like button. Give JB some love for his daily hard work, bringing the most concise crypto news. Thank you, Dankness. Appreciate that. Badlands, Mount Rushmore, Devil's Tower, some helicopter rides. Vids of those up now. Word up. Living your best life, I see, fam. Baz says it's all FUD, the SEC, to suppress the price and to buy for BlackRock to get their ETF approved. Their ETF will be easier to sell if it's cheaper. It will be approved before the halving for sure. I tend to think the same, especially with the track record of BlackRock, literally having a track record of 575 to 1, virtually meaning that the SEC has only turned down one ETF application by BlackRock out of 575. So the chances are it's likely to be approved, and they will have to answer before the Bitcoin halving, which just may create that perfect storm for us to hit new levels we have never seen before, which we're all anticipating and excited about. Going out to some restaurants for one person is above $20 plus tip. It's inflationary. 37,000 to 40,000, back to 32, back up to 49, 50,000, all before December. That would be a very Merry Christmas, in my opinion. So send it and let's go. Yep, hence the ETF interest, because that should act as a filter for the investors, says Matthew. J-Dub, good stuff, brother. I'm going vacationing in Escondido Mountains with the wife and daughter. That's what's up. Happy days, fam. Enjoy yourself out there. What's on? What's going on, Trini? Good to see you. Been a minute. How you been? What's up? What's new? What up, JV? Great show as always. My love from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Rhode Island in the building. Coming from Walter. Appreciate you tuning in. 1 million incoming, says Rave. Send it. Let's go. I get my daughter for one whole week each summer and always go big. Last year it was the Grand Canyon and Salt River float trip. Creating those everlasting memories. That's what's up. Your daughter will never forget that. Much love, much respect. 1 trillion market cap for Bitcoin when it was 69,000. Good to note that. So hypothetically, maybe we need to hit a million, maybe somewhere between a 10 to 15 trillion dollar market cap. Then maybe realistically we can be in that ballpark of $1 million price. What are your thoughts, fam? I forget to ask, the world leaders come up with their own version of Bitcoin to try to make a global currency. Well, we all know how that will fail. Be my guest. Create your Fed coin. Alternative to Bitcoin. Good luck with that. Max Keiser and Plan B are always right on the levels. Bitcoin will go too. Their timing is a bit off sometimes. Exactly. Appreciate you, brother, and well said on the fundamentals. Thank you, Rockton Road. Appreciate the support as always. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to Terry Tibbs. We've got a lot of people here in Europe. Love to see that. I'll shut my dollar cost average off at 222,000. Sounds good to me, facts. Send it. Whereabouts? Casterfield, Manchester here, says Maximus. Shout out to Maximus. You're very welcome. Garrett Miller. Salt River, nice. I've been on that about a dozen times. It never gets old, says Mikey likes it. Word up. My two favorite shows, Crypto News Alerts and Simply Bitcoin, hands down, and Orange Pillow, of course. Shout out to all those podcasts. They are absolutely the best out. I agree as well. I believe in Max Keiser. If it wasn't for him, I might not have found Bitcoin, says Maximus. Much love, much respect. I think we all love and respect Max. There's just a few trolls that don't appreciate him or turned off by him because he speaks his mind. And he has the balls to do that. And many people don't have the balls to tell the IMF to go, you know what I mean? And things of this nature, calling out Christine Lagarde and, Jay Powell, Jerome Powell, Jamie Dimon, all these corrupt mofos we have no respect for. We need more influencers doing that. I believe he's doing God's work, so I support him 100% of the way. Love the way JV just said 2022, 2023. That was real quick. Well, thank you, fam. Yes, he was in very early. Trust in Max. If he says 220, it will happen. I agree. Yeah, my favorite influencers in Bitcoin, Max and Stacy, first and foremost, they've been the most consistent. They've been the most honest and transparent in calling out the central banking cartels and, the forces of evil in the world, which, it's a given. So they have my respect. Also, of course, Michael Saylor, who doesn't love Saylor and his rants when he starts talking about, want to know the second best? There is no second best. You got Bitcoin and you got Bitcoin. Yeah, Michael Saylor's the man. That's right. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, fam. Smash. Thank you, Maximus. Terry Tibbs, talk to me. I floated it 3 times now. It's always been above 110. Whoa. It's been bullish from day one. You have to respect the OGs. Facts, right? Make the ice cold water perfect every time. Michael Saylor used to be a hater, but he's my go-to now. And that's why you got to respect him as well. He changed his mind. He was anti-Bitcoin, saying this thing would never work, whatever he used to tweet about it. But he had an awakening and realized he was wrong, and man enough to admit that. When you have people like Peter Schiff, he knew he was wrong since he was told to buy Bitcoin back when it was $10 by Max Keiser. It hit 69,000 and he just refused to change his mind, still saying it's going to zero. And I think he may even convince his son Spencer, who was once a Bitcoin bull, that it is not going where we all know the Bitcoin price action is heading. Michael Saylor is Bitcoin Jesus. That's right. Didn't they used to refer to, what's his name, Roger Ver as the Bitcoin Jesus? Then he forked the network with Bitcoin Cash, so he doesn't deserve to be called Bitcoin Jesus anymore. Agree. So we'll give Saylor that. And then, of course, Max is the high priest of Bitcoin. I like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's when he saw the mathematics behind it. He saw the light, and he is a rocket scientist. So as they say, who's to argue with a rocket scientist about where the Bitcoin price is heading? I've heard bullish predictions as high as $10 million per coin from Michael Saylor. He talks about the total addressable market being hundreds of millions. And if only 1 to 5% of these major institutions allocated to Bitcoin, which we know they will do eventually over time, we know Bitcoin is going to the moon, infinity, and beyond. Let's send it and let's freaking go. Anyways, fam, I appreciate all of this chat and interaction. I appreciate all the support, especially on Saturdays and weekends as I'm here 7 days a week. Much love and respect. Michael Saylor is my spirit animal, says Garrett Miller. That and the honey badger, right? So Michael Saylor is the honey badger in human form. How about that? JV, grow your hair. Then you can be our Bitcoin Jesus. Interesting enough, before I got into Bitcoin, my hair was down to my butt, and I used to have very long hair. You can easily find pictures of that online. So, but it was before I discovered Bitcoin. Ironic enough. Anyways, fam, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. I broke down the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin stays stuck at around that 30,000 range. We also discussed the SEC, hints at a potential appeal to XRP ruling from the Ripple Labs lawsuit. We also discussed the latest regarding FTX suing Sam Bankman-Fried as well as the former execs to recover over $1 billion. We also shared with you a 175,000 price target if we can break above this rising channel, which is at around that $32,000 mark. We also discussed as the Bitcoin price continues to rise, El Salvador's sovereign bonds soar 60% thus far in 2023, with the Bitcoin price action already up 80% from the bottom of this year. And I also shared with you Max Keiser's $1 million price prediction. FYI, he says, please attack me so that the price can go to 100, 200,000 to $1 million per coin. And he also says that El Salvador will be debt-free by 2030, and that's the time he would expect at least a $1 million price action. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below, and I look forward to